Mr. Speaker, I have a motion to recommit at the desk.
Is the gentleman opposed to the bill?
I am in its current form.
Gentleman qualifies. The clerk will report the motion.
Mr. Davidson of Ohio moves to recommit the bill H.R. 2513 to the Committee on Financial Services with instructions to report the same back to the House forthwith with the following amendment. Page 14, line 24, insert before the semicolon the following, but only if such request is accompanied by a court-issued subpoena. Page 15, line 6, insert before the semicolon the following, but only if such request is accompanied by a court-issued subpoena.
Can I have some order in the House, please? The gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, this motion to recommit is about defending freedom. Civil liberties have historically united this great body. Do any of my colleagues, regardless of party affiliation, really want law enforcement to access the data of small business owners and farmers without cause and without a warrant or subpoena? Surely this bill's sponsor would like to see these provisions restored to the current version of the bill so that due process and privacy rights of everyday Americans are protected. Let's reiterate what this bill, H.R. 2513, does. This bill subjects small business owners. Mr. Speaker, the House is not in order.
Can I have some order in the House, please? The gentleman will proceed.
This bill subjects small business owners, the smallest, 20 or fewer employees, to criminal penalties, up to $10,000 in fines or 3 years in prison. This bill creates yet another federal government database containing personally identifiable information of private U.S. citizens. This one collects the addresses and driver's license numbers of owners of legal and legitimate business operations. A little-known federal agency, FinCEN, and law enforcement will have unbridled access to the database, which has fewer protections than any other existing federal surveillance program. This motion to recommit is a common sense proposal to require a subpoena so that federal law enforcement officials do not query the sensitive information of American citizens without cause. The majority should not be opposed to this motion. Treasury already requires similar reporting of beneficial ownership by banks through the customer due diligence rule, and under the CDD rule, law enforcement must obtain a subpoena. In fact, the version of the Corporate Transparency Act introduced in the 115th Congress, sponsored by the gentlewoman from New York, only allowed disclosure to federal law enforcement agencies if it had a subpoena. But this language has now been dropped from the bill. I question why this iteration of the bill would remove the subpoena requirement and why Democratic leadership would reject this amendment when I offered it at the Rules Committee. On October 8th, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court published its previously classified opinion detailing systemic abuses of the FISA program. Federal law enforcement officials at the FBI have improperly queried Section 702 FISA databases to spy on innocent Americans. This abhorrent behavior violates the privacy rights of American citizens. Collectively, we must ensure that this database is safeguarded from any bad actor, including unauthorized access by federal employees. In light of these existing FISA abuses, it is imperative that Congress take steps to restore privacy protections for all Americans. And starting with more robust safeguards in this bill is a great first step. After all, this bill will require the smallest businesses to file beneficial ownership information with FinCEN, creating an estimated 30 to 40 million new filings each year. That's a really big database full of valuable information. This motion to recommit ensures due process and gives farmers and small business owners confidence that their constitutionally protected right to privacy is not violated. With that, I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from New Jersey rise?
Mr. Speaker, I rise in opposition to the amendment.
The gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, this is a rare moment in this House. We have a bipartisan bill, a bill that we have worked together, Republicans and Democrats in the House. We've worked together in the Senate. There's a companion piece of legislation. It has been praised by the Trump administration. We have a chance to do something tremendously good here. And the bill says something very simple. No one should be able to establish in the United States a shell company with completely secret ownership, secret even from law enforcement. We are saying that we are not Panama. We are not the Cayman Islands. We are not some little island nation tax shelter that puts out a welcome mat for drug dealers and arms dealers and dictators hiding money from their people. We are the United States of America. We are a nation of laws that does not tolerate corruption at home and that fights corruption around the world. Mr. Speaker, when I was running the Human Rights Bureau at the State Department, I would often speak to dissidents fighting for freedom in countries like Russia, and I would say to them, what can we do to help you? And they would say, you know what, we don't ask you to fight all of our battles for us, but just don't be complicit in what our dictatorship does to us. And I'd say, what do you mean complicit? And they would say, you know what? Because the money that people like Putin and their oligarchs steal from us all goes into banks and real estate in America and in Europe, and they do it through shell companies. And they were right. Under our current laws, anyone can set up an anonymously owned company to hide the proceeds of corruption or crime. Fentanyl dealers do it, terrorists do it, human traffickers do it, foreign dictators do it. The wildly corrupt son of Equatorial Guinea's former president, for example, set up a shell company in the United States to launder millions of dollars in bribes from international logging companies. Corrupt officials in Nigeria use shell companies to steal aid we sent them to fight Boko Haram. Next time you're in New York City, check out 650 Fifth Avenue. You can go shopping in the Nike store on the ground floor, get some shoes. You probably wouldn't realize that the building was owned for 20 years by the government of Iran, once again using a shell company. And let's be clear, shell companies not only allow foreign bad actors to hide dirty money in the United States, they allow them to use that dirty money to corrupt our system. Yeah, I know it's illegal for foreigners to contribute to our campaigns, but if you launder your money through a front company with anonymous ownership, there's very little we can do to stop you. Now, this amendment, I'm thrilled to hear my Republican colleagues say they're concerned about privacy and civil liberties, but this bill already has extraordinarily strong privacy protections. Law enforcement can only ask for access for this data if there's already an ongoing law enforcement investigation. The whole process is overseen by a civil liberties and privacy officer at FinCEN, and the information is so simple. My name, Tom Malinowski. My address, 86 Washington Street, Rocky Hill, New Jersey, 08553. My date of birth, 9/23/65. My driver's license number is too long to read, but you know what? The government already has it. What the government does not have is the names of the owners of companies that are set up here by foreign kleptocrats, drug lords, and criminals. Law enforcement should have access to that information. So let me just close by reminding this House who is for this bill. The National Association of Attorneys General, the National District Attorneys Association, the Fraternal Order of Police, the Society of Former Special Agents of the FBI, the U.S. Marshal Service Association, the Small Business Majority, the Main Street Alliance, the American Sustainable Business Council, the Bankers Association of every single state that we represent in this body, virtually every major human rights and anti-corruption group in the United States and around the world. Please join them, join me, join the bipartisan champions of this blow we are about to strike against corruption. Reject this MTR, support the bill. Thank you very much.
Without objection, the previous question is ordered on the motion to recommit. The question is on the motion to recommit. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. The noes have it.
Mr. Speaker, I ask for a recorded vote.
A recorded vote is requested. Those favoring a recorded vote will rise. A sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. Passage of H.R. 25, pursuant to the clause, passage of H.R. 2513, if ordered, and the motion to suspend the rules and pass H.R. 2426. This will be a 5-minute vote. 187, and the nays are 224. The motion is not adopted. The question is on passage of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, say no. The ayes have it.
Speaker, I ask for the yeas and nays.
The yeas and nays have it. The bill, okay. The yeas and nays are requested. Those favoring a vote by the yeas and nays will rise. A sufficient number having risen, the yeas and nays are ordered. Members will record their vote by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote. A 5-minute vote. this vote, the yeas are 249, the nays are 173. The bill is passed. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, the unfinished business is the vote on the motion of the gentleman from New York, Mr. Jeffries, to suspend the rules and pass H.R. 2426 as amended, on which the yeas and nays are ordered. The clerk will report the title.
H.R. 2426, a bill to amend Title 17 United States Code to establish an alternative dispute resolution program for copyright small claims